is almost 8 p.m., almost 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have my co host in the background, my little baby son. So welcome him when he starts to cry when he's ready. And today is Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. I welcome you all back. We're about to jump into some stuff real quick, and I'm going to have you out of here. All right. So, again, welcome back, folks. We are witnessing the most explosive political betrayal in modern history as MAGA just stabbed his own MAGA base in the back over the Epstein files. And his guilt is literally sweating through his pores. This man who promised transparency, who said he would release everything, is now telling his supporters to, quote, waste no time on the Epstein files, and they are absolutely furious. Mike Johnson, his most loyal lapdog, is now breaking with him publicly, demanding transparency. And I'm telling you right now, this is the beginning of the end for Trump, because when you betray the people who put you in power, they will destroy you. Trump is showing classic signs of a guilty man who thought he could control the narrative. But now that the heat is on, he is panicking and he's trying to shut down the very investigation his base demands. The same people who trusted him, who voted for him, who defended him are now realizing they have been played. And when MAGA turns on you, it's game over. I'm about to break down exactly how Trump's own guilt is destroying his presidency from the inside out, and why Mike Johnson is positioning himself to be the one who brings him down. This is the political earthquake that's going to reshape everything. So let's dive straight into the betrayal. So Trump right now is panicked over the Epstein attack. Trump is having a full-blown panic attack over the Epstein files, and his guilt is so obvious it's painful to watch. Trump is facing backlash from his supporters and opponents alike for how his administration has handled the release of evidence surrounding the death of disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. And this man is sweating bullets because he knows what's in those files. Trump's Justice Department said last week that no additional documents. Welcome, Carlos Salinas. Welcome to the program, Carlos Salinas. Trump's Justice Department said last week that no additional documents from the investigation into Epstein's death would be made public, and denied the existence of a client list, which riled up Trump's base. And Mr. Salinas, make sure that you subscribe so you can check the next episode out. Definitely, I welcome you here. Thank you. So think about that. Trump promised transparency during his campaign. But now that he's in power, he's doing everything possible to keep these files buried. This is classic guilty behavior from a man who knows he's implicated, right? A July 7th Justice Department memo revealed that the Trump administration would not be releasing any more documents related to deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, after repeatedly saying it would. Now, this is a complete 180-degree flip from his campaign promises, and his base knows that they have been betrayed. Trump thought that he can control the narrative, but the pressure is mounting, and he's cracking under the weight of his own guilt. Again, I have my co-host in the background, my little baby son. So if you hear him shout out of nowhere, it's because he's saying hello, he's doing his thing, and he has the privilege to do whatever he wants right now when I'm on my live. Anywho, so the MAGA base is revolting now, right? They're exploding. The MAGA base is absolutely furious, and they are not buying Trump's excuses. This week, the Justice Department said it would not release any additional files related to the case of the late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And Trump supporters are calling this the ultimate betrayal. These people put their trust in him, voted for him, defended him against all attacks. I mean, these are triple Trumpers. And now he's telling them to move on from the very transparency that they demanded. Okay, hardcore triple Trumpers, you're telling them to move on? Trump's own supporters are connecting the dots and realizing that his close friendship with Epstein wasn't just casual acquaintance. It was something much deeper and more compromising. Now they are seeing through his panic and understanding that an innocent man wouldn't be working this hard to keep these files buried. It's obvious. The cognitive dishonesty is breaking down and reality is setting in for his base. The timing of this betrayal couldn't be worse for Trump because his supporters don't tolerate pedophiles. And they are starting to question whether their hero might be one of them. This is the one issue that can destroy Trump's hold on his base because even the most loyal MAGA supporters, they have their limits too, I can imagine, when it comes to crimes against children, right? Now, Mike Johnson, okay, this is very shocking. I'm not appalled, I'm just shocked. Mike Johnson is setting himself up for betrayal right now. Mike Johnson is making his move and positioning himself to be the one who brings Trump down. And welcome everybody to the program. If you put your name in the comment, I'll give you a shout out. Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican from Louisiana, told right-wing podcaster Benny Johnson on Tuesday that he supported the release of the Epstein files, days after President Donald Trump's Justice Department said that the matter was effectively closed. Now, this is Johnson's first public break with Trump, and it's strategic. I promise you, it's strategic. It is. Some of President Donald Trump's most loyal allies in Congress aren't satisfied by his decision to not release additional files from the Jeffrey Epstein case, and it's threatening to deepen the MAGA divide he now faces from his base. Now, Johnson sees the writing on the wall, and he's not going down with Trump's ship. Trust me, he's not. Trust me, he's not. He's calculating that supporting transparency will position him as the principal leader when Trump falls. Johnson has been Trump's most loyal supporter, but loyalty only goes so far when your own political survival is at stake. Trust me. The House Speaker told conservative podcaster Benny Johnson he's, quote, for transparency. And that's Johnson's way of saying he's done covering for Trump's guilty conscience. This is the beginning, my listeners. This is the beginning of Johnson's political rebellion, and it's going to accelerate rapidly. So y'all make sure that y'all subscribe because I'm going to have all the juice as it continues. God willing. So now that Trump is being exposed and his patterns are being exposed, Trump's behavior around the Epstein files, it's following classic patterns of guilty consciousness that any prosecutor would recognize. Okay, he promised transparency during the campaign when he thought these files would never see the light of day. Now that he's in power and realizes the files could actually be released, he's doing everything possible to shut down the investigation. We all can see it. We can see it in his face and his body language, everything. If President Trump himself was implicated in Epstein's network, he must also be held accountable, and Trump knows this, which is why he is panicking. An innocent man would welcome transparency, right? Because it would clear his name. Now I sound like Steve Wilkos. A guilty man does exactly what Trump is doing, trying to control the narrative and shut down investigations. The Justice Department's claim that they have no evidence that convicted sex offender and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a, quote, clientless, end quote, or was murdered is suspicious timing. That reeks of political interference, if you ask me or anybody else. Trump is using his power to manipulate the Justice Department, and his base sees right through it. So impeachment momentum right now is building. Resolve that Donald J. Trump, president of the United States, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and this resolution is gaining momentum as more Republicans break with Trump over the Epstein cover-up. Now, Johnson's public break with Trump is the signal that impeachment is not only possible, but probable. Now, House Republicans unanimously rejected an attempt by Democrats to tuck language into an unrelated bill forcing DOJ to release all of its Epstein files within 30 days, but that unity is cracking fast. Now, as more Republicans realize that Trump's guilt is becoming obvious, they're going to start distancing themselves to save their own political careers, right? They want to save their ass. Absolutely. They're going to save their ass first. The impeachment process is going to accelerate once Johnson decides to fully turn on Trump. because Johnson controls the House schedule and can fast track impeachment proceedings. Johnson is positioning himself as the principal leader so he can stand up to Trump when it matters the most. And that narrative is going to resonate with voters who feel betrayed by Trump Epstein's cover up. Okay. So what happens after that? Well, MAGA civil war might erupt, right? Trump's betrayal over the Epstein files is creating a civil war within the MAGA movement. That's going to tear the Republican Party apart for sure. His most loyal supporters are realizing they have been played, and they're not going to go quietly. The cognitive dissonance of supporting someone who might be a pedophile is breaking their brains, and they are lashing out, and it's obvious. The people who defended Trump through every scandal, who attacked anyone who questioned him, are now questioning everything that they believed about their hero. This psychological break is creating rage, and that rage is going to be directed at Trump and everyone who enabled his cover-up. Now, the MAGA civil war is going to be brutal, yes, indeed, and it's going to destroy Trump's political future. It will. Johnson and other Republicans who turn on Trump are going to be seen as the principal leaders who put country over party when it mattered the most. And the Republicans who continue to support Trump's cover-up are going to be destroyed politically because the American people have limits, and protecting pedophiles crosses every single line. So here's Trump's strategic miscalculation and what really happened. Trump's biggest mistake was thinking that he can control his base's reaction to the Epstein cover-up. He assumed that their loyalty was absolute and that they would follow him no matter what. But he underestimated their moral boundaries. Even the most loyal MAGA supporter has limits when it comes to crimes against children and Trump. And Trump just crossed that line, right? They have a limit when it comes to children, and Trump just crossed that line. Now, his decision to tell supporters to waste no time on the Epstein files was the moment he lost his base, because it confirmed their worst fears about his guilt. An innocent man fights for transparency while a guilty man tries to shut down investigation, and Trump's actions speak louder than his words. The political calculation was simple. Trump thought he could use his power to bury the files and control the narrative, but he forgot that his base put him in power specifically to drain the swamp and expose corruption. By covering up the Epstein files, he became the swamp creature they elected him to destroy. So what happens now? The dooming effect begins. The dooming effect begins. Johnson breaks with Trump, and it's just the beginning of a domino effect that's going to destroy Trump's presidency. Other Republicans are going to follow Johnson's lead because they see the writing on the wall, and they're not going down with Trump's ship. Trust me, they're not. The political calculus, it's changing rapidly, man. And supporting Trump's cover-up is becoming politically toxic. Quote, "We write with profound alarm at allegations that files relating to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein have not been declassified and released to the American public because they personally implicate President Trump," end quote. And this concern is spreading through the Republican Party. Trump's guilt is becoming so obvious that even his allies can't ignore it anymore. The impeachment process is going to accelerate once more Republicans realize that Trump's political toxicity is going to destroy their own careers. And Johnson is positioning himself as the leader of the post-Trump Republican Party. And other ambitious Republicans are going to follow his lead to save their own political futures, to save their own political ass. Well, here's the deal. That is the brutal reality of where we stand today. Trump's guilt over the Epstein files is so obvious that even his most loyal supporters are turning against him. And Mike Johnson is positioning himself again to be the one who brings him down. Trump thought he could betray his base and get away with it, but he underestimated their moral boundaries and their intelligence. The MAGA civil war has begun, and it's going to destroy Trump's presidency from the inside out. Johnson's break with Trump over transparency is just the beginning of a domino effect that's going to end with impeachment, because the American people have limits and protecting pedophiles. And it crosses every line. Trump's strategic miscalculation of thinking he could control his base's reaction to his guilt is going to cost him everything that he worked for. And the same people who put him in power are going to be the ones who bring him down. Isn't that sad? Anyways, make sure that you are subscribed because we're about to witness the most explosive political implosion in American history. And I'll be here to break it down every twist and turn as Trump's house of cards collapses around him. The next few weeks are going to be absolutely critical for American democracy, and we will be tracking every development as it unfolds. So until next time, stay informed and watch as justice finally catches up with the guilty. Trump's reign of corruption is about to end, and is going to be with his own supporters who deliver the final blow. Thank you all for listening. Please make sure that you subscribe to the program to get future updates because every single day I am on it and every single day I am committed to bring you all the latest factual information straight to you all. Hello, Cubanes or Cubans. Welcome to the program, Cubans. And by Mr. Carlos Salinas and Mr. Cubans, thank you all for hanging out in the program and listening. And if you didn't hear from the beginning, make sure that you go back and hear from the beginning after it is available after the stream. Thank you all so much. Have a good afternoon and good evening.